Welcome everyone to your 2018 WWE Evolution pay-per-view recap, spoilers, and review. This is your host, Pop Culture Junkie here. Now we are talking about the Evolution pay-per-view. We were just literally minutes following the show. It was a fantastic show in my opinion. It was really fun. Had an awesome crowd, a lot of hype and action from them, and we had some really good matches. Now this was advertised as, of course, the WWE's first ever all-women's pay-per-view. That's right, WWE has now graduated themselves into the next millennium, and we had a full pay-per-view dedicated to the women of the wrestling world inside WWE, of course. And the show again was great. I had a really fun time watching it. My wife joined me the entire show, and she loved it. She thought it was a great show. It was fun. There were some great matches. There was a little bit of hit and miss on some, but otherwise it was a fun show. We're going to talk about the matches and the results and share with you my thoughts and opinions on what we saw. So let's get started right away. We go to the kickoff show, just like every pay-per-view. There's a kickoff to begin with. And we had the kickoff panel with Renee Young, Paige, and Beth Phoenix. They share their thoughts on tonight's matches, who's going to win, who's going to have a better advantage on who. During this panel, they also did a backstage segment with a red carpet that they basically just put a red carpet behind the backstage area. They had it roped off with some cameramen and camera people taking photos of random stars. And it was interesting because we're literally 1 hour before the start of the show, and you would see Sasha Banks or Nia Jax, different people that are going to be participating in matches tonight. They're just standing backstage in their casual attire. Like, you would think they'd already be in their wrestling gear getting ready for their matches, but they had to do this red carpet thing in the back. So we get interviews from Sasha Banks, from Maria Menounos, and Nia Jax, and Alexa Bliss, just sharing about all how important this event is and how memorable and how monumental it is to have an all-women's show. And you know what? It really is great that WWE is doing this, okay? We've had a lot of firsts over the last few years when it comes to women. We've had our first ever women's Royal Rumble. We've had matches that we never thought we would see, like women's ladder matches and Hell in a Cell matches, last women's standing matches, etc. Mostly from NXT we saw that at first, then we got them into the main roster. So yes, it is great that WWE is focusing more on the women, because we actually have a lot of talented women on the roster now, okay? It's not 10 years ago when the Diva era was in, full force, and we had to put up with 2-minute matches with models that weren't really focused on the wrestling. They just wanted to get their name out there to move on to something else, and that's fine. But this is a different era, and now we can appreciate the talent that we have on the roster. So it's great that they are focusing on that. Now, one thing I want to point out is a lot of folks and myself noticed right away at the beginning when they were doing the panel show during the kickoff, the arena looked very empty, okay? It's just starting to get some people in there. And obviously, yeah, people are still parking, getting food and drinks and souvenirs and such. And the show hasn't started. Like, the pay-per-view itself still didn't start for another hour. So folks aren't going to go straight to their seat and just sit there. They're going to go explore the arena and whatever. Later on into the show, though, once the show started, it did start to get more packed, and pretty much by the time the first match was in progress, then you could see the arena was pretty much full. Now, they advertised it over and over saying this was a sold-out show. It wasn't, though, okay? By no means. There were still empty seats at times you could see, in different areas, but not so obvious that it was, a very poor attendance. So you did have a great turnout for this show. But a lot of folks on social media kept posting things saying, hey, I can find tickets on different social media outlets that you can buy tickets from for as low as like $6. So that was crazy. But of course, that's usually from scalpers that they were looking at. You could go to your actual licensed ticket providers, and I checked it out, and yeah, I found there were still tickets available even during the show. They started around $25 to $30, but these were like nosebleed seats, of course. And there was a sparingly few ringside seats I saw that were available, but those were a few $100s. But either way, I mean, if I was in the New York area and I was able to get some of those $6 tickets, I would have jumped on it and gone to the show just to be able to see all the different stars that were in the show here. It would have been a great moment to see. So we kick off the show itself with a rock concert by Lizzie Hale and Nita Strauss. And we have on commentary Beth Phoenix, Renee Young, and Michael Cole. Yes, of course, we have to have Michael Cole be a part of almost anything to do with any kind of wrestling, pay-per-view, network special, whatever. For whatever reason, I don't know. I think they could have brought in another woman legend of some sort. Come on, you advertise an all-women's show, let's do it. Let's have an all-women's panel. Let's have an all-women's commentary table. Or just put Beth Phoenix and Renee Young together. I don't know why they're not really comfortable or confident in that, but honestly, I think Renee Young and Beth Phoenix did great on the show tonight and did not need Michael Cole's just annoying commentary that he does every week on Raw. We didn't need that as part of this show. I was really looking forward to this pay-per-view, hoping we weren't going to have him on that commentary team, but it is what it is. So let's kick things off. We go to the first matchup. Our opening match is Trish Stratus and Lita versus Mickie James and Alicia Fox with Alexa Bliss at ringside. Yes, we mentioned this on the prediction video that there was rumors going that Alexa Bliss had suffered a concussion at a house show over the last weekend. That's why she wasn't really on Raw this past week. And unfortunately, yeah, she's sidelined and not able to be in the match, but she was able to be ringside at least, so she was still able to at least be at the show and be somewhat around the action. She just couldn't do much because, again, she's not cleared to wrestle. Now, this match was, it started off slow, built up nicely, and it was a fun match. It was not by any means a show stealer. There was one moment in the match where Stratus Faction was connected to Mickie James. Referee goes to make a count, 1, 2, and the ref really timed it wrong, or it was Alicia Fox, because in comes Alicia Fox to break up the count, but the ref literally is going, 1, 2, where's Alicia Fox at? Oh, there she is. Okay, I'll break up the count. That was a little bit of a miss timing there. So after some back and forth, Lita hits Alicia Fox with a twist of fate. She lays out Alicia Fox and Mickie James side by side, does a moonsault onto both. Trish then picks up Mickie James, does a kick to the head, and gets the pinfall, and they get the victory. So Trish and Lita victorious at the opening match for the show. It was a fun opener, and hey, by the way, Trish and Lita got huge pops. I will also say this again. This crowd was very good. Okay, we don't get a lot of crowds sometimes. There's been some crowds at Raws and SmackDowns and even pay-per-views where it's like they're just sitting there staring into nothing, even when there's great matches happening, and they're just like, okay, oh, here comes an entrance. It's like they were really hyped. They were actually like, hey, we're at a show for the first time ever, all-women's show. Let's really be pumped about it. And they were getting to see a lot of legends, okay? Trish, Lita, Alundra Blaze later on. You got to see a lot of legends, and you got to see a lot of cool, stars. So they were really pumped up, and you could hear the crowd behind that. So I enjoyed the crowd immensely during the entire show, from opening match to the closing match. After this, we go backstage, and the Bella Twins are being interviewed. Nikki says that she's dedicating the match against Ronda to Ronda's mother. We then get a video package about how special tonight is to so many different superstars. Now, we got a lot of these. It seemed like, to me, almost after every single match, there was a video package put together where they were interviewing random female superstars, whether they were WWE, NXT, SmackDown, Raw, whatever. It just seemed like they were interviewing, and legends, talking about how great and fantastic and amazing it is. And what irked me after a while is, hey, it's not just about the ones that are there to do this, show. So I think they could have gone a different way with this. They could have done video packages on other women that were part of the entire history of WWE or wrestling in general, but you could focus on just WWE. I mean, they could have done packages on Sherry Martel, on Chyna, of course, AJ Lee, Jumping Bomb Angels, Wendy Richter, Rockin' Robin. I mean, there's so many women. Hello, Luna Vachon, okay? So many women that were important to the whole concept that is women's wrestling. And they were the groundbreakers, okay? They paved the way for all the stars that we got to see tonight, including legends that we saw tonight. There would not be those women without the ones I just mentioned, okay? They could have done that. Put video packages together to at least give some kind of tribute or homage to those women, instead of just continuously playing more videos of going, oh, this is so great. I don't need to see Sasha and Bayley and Trish over and over saying, oh, hey, tonight's such a great night. Okay, we know it, but let us just appreciate it, okay? Let us just see it for the moment and appreciate that. I would have really liked that. All right, so our second matchup is the 20 Women Battle Royal match. And we had 20 different women, including lots of legends, such as Michelle McCool. We had Maria Kanellis. We had Alundra Blaze, Tori Wilson, Ivory, just to name a few. We had some, of course, women from SmackDown and Raw, such as Ember Moon, Asuka, Naomi, Lana, so many others. The match was okay. It wasn't the greatest battle royal by any means. The main story during the match for me was between Tamina and Nia Jax, and they even paid tribute to Roman Reigns at one point where they kind of had a stare off, and then they did his, where Roman does the pose in the corner and goes, ooh, something like that. They did that before they just unloaded on everyone that was in the Rumble at the time. We get down to the final four, and it's Ember Moon, Asuka, Tamina, and Nia. Tamina eliminates Asuka, Ember eliminates Tamina, and then all of a sudden, as Ember Moon is attempting to eliminate Nia Jax, Zelina Vega shows up out of nowhere because I thought she was eliminated just like everyone else did, but no, she was still in the match. She was just hiding outside. She comes in and attempts to throw Nia Jax and Ember Moon out at the same time, turns around to celebrate like she just won the match, doesn't realize that she didn't eliminate anybody. Nia Jax turns around, picks up Zelina Vega, walks over towards the entrance ramp side of the ring where Tamina is, throws Zelina Vega straight into Tamina, and I kid you not, it looked like Zelina Vega's knee connects right into the face of Tamina. When Tamina goes down, you see her grabbing her face like she just took the knee to the face. That looked pretty stiff. Afterwards, Nia Jax turns her attention towards Ember Moon and throws her out of the ring, gets the win, and Nia Jax is your winner. So, got a happy moment there for Nia Jax winning the match, and this means that she has won the right at a future title shot. Now it's, of course, whoever show she's on, so she's on Raw, so she has a shot at whoever wins the match tonight, either Ronda Rousey or Nikki Bella, so she's got a shot at the Raw Women's title. The next matchup we have here is the Mae Young Classic Finals of Toni Storm versus Io Shirai, and Toni Storm hits a sit-down powerbomb for the win and wins the Mae Young Classic for the second year now. So this is our second year having the Mae Young Classic. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, I'd highly recommend you do. There was a lot of great matches in there, and there's still lots of women that will definitely be showing up on NXT or even WWE main roster eventually. So check it out if you haven't had a chance to see it yet. Now, following that, we get a commercial for Crown Jewel, which I thought was really out of place there, okay? You don't need to be advertising that during a all-women's pay-per-view. Do not advertise a show where you're not going to even have any women there. Okay, that just seemed very poor taste. Following that, we get another video package of another thing of women in the WWE telling about how great the Tonight shows is and such. And again, they could have gone a different way where they just focused on video packages on select women or select groups or moments in history, something like that. Even great moments of, great matches in women's wrestling in the history of WWE, something like that even. All right, next up, we got the 6 women's tag match, Riot Squad of Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan, and Ruby Riott versus Natalya, Sasha Banks, and Bayley. Bayley gets beat up earlier on and basically plays the underdog throughout the match. Natalya attempts a double sharpshooter on both Ruby and Logan before Liv Morgan breaks it up. That was a nice spot. In the end, Liv Morgan gets hit with a powerbomb by Natalya, and then Bayley connects with a flying elbow drop, Macho Man style, followed by a frog splash, Eddie Guerrero style, by Sasha Banks, and she gets the pin on Liv. And Natalya, Bayley, and Sasha get the win here. So that match was okay. It seemed like your typical Raw match. It wasn't anything too flashy, but glad to see they got the win, but I was really predicting Riot Squad because Riot Squad's been jobbing to everybody. Alright, next up we have the NXT title match of Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler. Kairi Sane, of course, the champion. And this match was great. I really enjoyed it. They're from NXT, and NXT always delivers, and this match was great. Shayna Baszler concentrated on Kairi Sane's arm throughout the match, and at one moment she had Kairi Sane standing on the outside apron. Shayna Baszler gets up on the top rope or top turnbuckle and puts Kairi Sane in an arm bar where she lifts her straight up from the ground, and Kairi Sane is just suspended hanging by her arm. That looked amazing. That was a really nice spot. But in the end, due to outside interference from Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke, Kairi Sane loses the title by submission. But she did not ever tap out. She passes out in a sleeper hold. Shayna Baszler puts her into a sleeper hold after outside interference, and the referee calls for the match, and Shayna Baszler is your first ever 2-time NXT Women's Champion. Next up, we have the SmackDown Women's Championship title match, Last Women Standing match. Becky Lynch, your champion, defending against the challenger of Charlotte. I predicted that this match was going to be the match of the night, and you know what? It was. Holy crap, was this a great match. Becky and Charlotte laid it all out there. We had everything. We had hard hitting, we had tables, we had ladders, we had chairs, we had kendo sticks. It was just amazing the things they did in this match. Lots of great moments, lots of great spots. I mean, you had Becky Lynch getting put onto the table, and Charlotte goes for a moonsault, but unfortunately, table did not break. She puts her back on the table, does a front somersault flip to break the table. They go outside on opposite sides of the ring, and Charlotte and Becky go underneath the aprons of the rings and start throwing steel chairs into the ring. The crowd starts chanting ECW, ECW, of course. Charlotte gets suplexed onto the chairs. Becky gets back dropped onto the chairs. That was a stiff shot, too. At one point, Charlotte brings a ladder into the match, lays it out on the apron, or lays it across the ring. Becky reverses a hold and slams Charlotte back first onto the ladder. That looked like a really stiff hit. Charlotte then puts Becky Lynch into a figure eight with her legs intertwined inside of a ladder. That was a really great spot as well. Now, during that spot, it was a really bad moment because Becky is in pain, of course. She's got her legs locked up in a figure eight lock, and she's reaching around trying to find something to help her. And unfortunately, they were out of position, and you see the ref trying his best to kick a chair over to Becky without it being too obvious, but he kicks a chair over to where Becky can pick it up and then slam the chair into Charlotte's knee to get the hold broken up. That was kind of a bad spot. From there, they go fighting out into the crowd. They come back over to the ringside area, and they're clearing off one of the announce tables. Becky hits Charlotte with the title, lays Charlotte across the announce table, sets up another ladder, does a leg drop off the ladder to Charlotte through the table. That was another table that Charlotte went through. Becky gets up. She goes over and picks up all the chairs ringside that she can get and piles them on top. Gets the chairs that the announce table team was using and piles those on top of Charlotte. The whole time, though, the referee is like focused on what Becky is doing and not counting. Okay, the ref all through the matches, as soon as one of them even is sitting down on the floor, starts to go 1, 2. That's a last man standing match. You got to count to 10. The winner, you win if you can incapacitate your opponent that way. And instead of counting the whole time, he's watching Becky grab chairs from the ring, the commentary table pieces and pieces of the broken table from earlier, pile it all on top of Charlotte. Once she's done doing that, then he's like, oh, okay, I'll start counting now. I mean, it was another bad spot, another bad, decision by the ref that time. But it gets to the count of 9, and Charlotte is barely standing. She's not even standing. She was like still on one of her knees, but her foot's off, her foot's on the ground. And the ref decides to say, oh, okay, she's up. And it's like, okay, well, that was another bad call. So they start fighting along the outside of the ring again. Charlotte gets a kendo stick and starts to whip Becky some more. She spears Becky on the floor. They go around to the other side of the ring where the entrance is. There was a table that was pulled out from under the ring earlier, but kind of been forgotten about. Charlotte sets up the table, lays Becky across it. Charlotte gets up onto the top rope to attempt a moonsault from the top rope turnbuckle to the outside. But Becky jumps up to the side of the apron, gets underneath Charlotte, power bombs her from the top through the table. The ref makes the count to 10, and Becky retains the title. That was just really great. Match of the night easily, but props to both women because I know that Charlotte went through hell just now, and I do not envy her any at all tomorrow morning when she starts to feel everything from going through 2, 3 different tables, onto a ladder, onto chairs. I mean, just so much abuse to her back. I hope she can recover right away. All right, we're now down to the final match of the night, the Raw Women's Title match. Ronda Rousey defending against Nikki Bella, the last of the Divas, basically. And I was predicting, honestly, how do you follow the last women's standing match? Okay, such a hard chore to do. No way they're going to go more than like a couple minutes, right? They'll probably just do a quick squash. Surprisingly, they didn't. And it was not bad. It was actually decent. Ronda Rousey starts off just toying with Nikki Bella because, of course, in real life, of course, Ronda Rousey would snap Nikki in half. But she toys with her. She does a lot of hip toss and throws her around. At one point, she did her arm toss to Nikki, and Nikki's like sitting on the floor inside the ring, and Ronda's like trying to help her up, like, oh, here, I'll help you up, get up. And she's like, get off me. That was a nice moment. But of course, when you get too cocky, things happen. And also, Brie Bella is at ringside, so Brie Bella interferes and distracts Ronda to where at one point, Ronda goes outside the ring to chase after Nikki, and as Nikki is distracting the referee, Bree comes from behind and shoves Ronda into the ringside turnbuckle post. Then they throw her into the barricade as well. But here's where I think the match was very good, actually, is because not only is Ronda Rousey a believable and legit badass, because hello, she could definitely take down anybody in that locker room, because she is a legit fighter. Okay, let's be honest. Now, what made this match great, in my opinion, is not only is Ronda Rousey an amazing, legit fighter, but she is a great salesperson. Okay, and the offense that Nikki gave her, I would not believe any way other unless it was Ronda, because Ronda was selling like you would not believe. Ronda actually gave Nikki her best match ever, okay? And she made Nikki look like $1,000,000 the way she sold for her. And that's where, again, I say to the critics that say, oh, Ronda's, only been there a short time, she shouldn't be in the position she is. Hey, she's picked it up, and she is showing that she's dedicated and committed to making sure that she's here and she means business, and she did a great job in this match. In the end, we get Nikki again with Bree's help trying to interfere. Ronda gets Nikki up on her shoulders to attempt her Samoan drop style finisher. Bree is on the outside apron, but Nikki pulls her over the top rope and allows Ronda basically to put her on top of Nikki, so she has both of them in a fireman carry on her shoulders and delivers her finisher to both. That was a nice spot. She does not get the pin right away, though. They're on the outside of the ring, and Ronda throws Nikki back in. Bree connects with a stiff forearm to Ronda's face, and I saw a nice cut or bruise on the left cheek on Ronda, and it looked like Bree really, hit her good, or didn't hold back on purpose. Who knows? But Ronda gets into the ring. Nikki connects with her 2.0 rack attack, gets a near pinfall, two count, but Ronda kicks out. Then both Nikki and Ronda are on the top turnbuckle, and this looked bad. Ronda does basically a armbar flip off of the turnbuckle, but Nikki looked like she landed really rough. But anyways, Nikki gets rolled up into the armbar on the floor, and Ronda makes her tap. Ronda is still your champion, so that was great. And I'm glad that Ronda retained, okay? We did not need to see a Nikki Bella championship run and not need to see Ronda lose her first match in that style. So, great way. And it was a happy ending for the match, okay? Happy ending for the show, okay? That was the final match, and the fans were happy. Ronda, is still your champion, and it was a good ending. But, honestly, they should have put the SmackDown Championship title match as your final match, because that was amazing. That was a show stealer. So the Bellas head up to the entrance ramp, and they're not looking very happy, of course, and Nikki shouts out that this isn't over, so who knows where they're going to go from here, if we're going to see any kind of rematch, whether it be a one-on-one with Nikki versus Ronda again, maybe a handicap match on Raw with Nikki and Brie against Ronda Rousey for just a straight-up match, not for the title, who knows. Ronda, of course, celebrates the victory, raising the title up on the turnbuckle, and waves to the crowd, smiles and is all happy. Then she heads up to the ramp, and we see that the entire roster of women have emptied out into the entrance ramp, and they're all lined up, smiling and waving, and Ronda turns around, holds up the title in the middle of all of them, and they're all just doing a big giant curtain call like they just got done doing a production of Cats or My Fair Lady or whatever musical play or anything you can think of. It's like, hey, guys, we did a great job. Let's wave to the audience and crowd. It's like, why is this happening? Kayfabe is dead. Okay, we all know it. But, man, this was not needed. I didn't understand this at all. It was fine. You have your Raw Women's Champion defending her title. She wins. Wave to the crowd. That's it. Sign off. We don't need to have all the women empty out. Half of them are in their ring gear. The other half are like ready to pack up and head to the hotel or go to the airport or whatever. And yet they're like, wait, everyone, come back out. Everyone gets to do a bow and curtain call. No, why do we need this? Someone explain it to me. Why did we have to have that as any inclusion on the show? Okay, it's not like at WrestleMania and Royal Rumble or whatever. After the final match of the night, You don't have all the wrestlers come back out into the entrance ramp and wave to the audience going, hey, thanks for watching, tune in next time. No. Can you imagine tuning in to an episode of Raw in 1997 and you see Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, The Rock, Stone Cold, all these wrestlers standing in unison in front of the Raw ramp or the entrance ramp at a Mania or whatever, waving to the crowd saying, hey, thanks for tuning in, hope we'll see you again. It just did not make any sense. I didn't understand it. My wife was looking at me going, why did they do that? I don't have an answer for her because it made no sense to me either. But that's how they signed off the pay-per-view. So well, there you go. That's the entire show. That was the Evolution pay-per-view. What did everyone out there that's listening think of it if you watched it? Let me know. Share with me in the comments. So let's see. Real quick, I'm going to go over my favorite match. Easily the last women's standing match because the psychology was there. The storyline was amazing, okay? You had a lot of heated rivalry between Becky and Charlotte from everything they did, starting from SummerSlam through what they did at the NXT Performance Center and then what they've done on SmackDown, okay? It's been really fun, and they've really made it believable to where it's, you know, Becky is fed up with what was being done to her character and the chances that she was not getting and the opportunities that she was not being given, and she's just taking it instead of waiting for it to be handed to her. And unfortunately, Charlotte doesn't like that, but at the same time, Charlotte feels like, oh, well, you know, you gotta just wait your turn or something. Like, no. Becky's like, no, it's my time. I'm taking my time. And then she's done it, and Becky is amazing. Worst match of the night, I'd probably say the 6 women's tag match, and that's only because it really just came off as a same kind of match you'd see on Raw. It wasn't anything more spectacular than that, and that's where I think they kind of fell short. All right, let me get to some questions here that folks sent in on Twitter. Thank you very much for doing this. And if you ever want to send in questions for any of these predictions or recap videos, you can just follow me on Twitter at PopCultureJunk2, and I will be live tweeting during every WWE pay-per-view and NXT pay-per-view network special, takeover special, whatever. And you can follow along and see what I'm thinking and talking about the show live and I'm right there. But also you can send in questions and you get a shout out on a future video. Alright, so let's see here. We got a question from Josh Floberg. Could the match between Charlotte versus Becky tonight be in the conversation for match of the year? Absolutely. That was a great match. Even my wife was very impressed. She was very impressed with that match. So I would definitely say match of the year possibility right there. Samantha S. asks, who should Becky Lynch's next opponent be for the title? In my opinion, it should be Asuka, but unfortunately they're just not doing anything right with her character. I think Asuka would be a great challenger for Becky Lynch if they did it right. Let's see, Still Blondie asks, how do you feel about Nia Jax winning the Battle Royal? I think it's okay, but we've already seen Nia Jax versus Ronda. I think they should have gone another way if they wanted to have a Raw superstar win the match. They should have gone a different way. I thought Ember Moon was going to get the win, and we would see at least Ember versus Ronda, but I'm assuming they just don't think anyone else is believable to be a opponent against Ronda, which I don't think that's how they should go. It's like, just go through the women you have, okay? Let Ronda fight every single woman if you want to have it that way. Don't have her beat everyone in clean, fashion or within, 2 minutes like you did Alexa at SummerSlam. But you need to do something where you have a believable challenging... You need to do something where you have a lot of challengers, not just pick your 2 different women to have Ronda continuously fight against until she loses the belt against one of them, in my opinion. And then finally, Jordan Cassad, you asking, tell me how you feel about Randall Keith Orton. Well, I think he's a very overrated employee of the WWE. You know that, bro. All right, everyone. Well, thanks as always for sending in your questions. I appreciate it. And again, follow me on Twitter, PopCultureJunk2 anytime. And you can check out what I'm live tweeting during any of the network shows and pay-per-views. And follow me on the nights of those shows because I'll be posting prediction and recap and spoiler videos for every show. There you go. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the show if you did watch it. And if you haven't seen it yet, hopefully you enjoyed the recap I just shared with you. And hopefully you'll check out everything else that we got going on the cool channel here. Well, thanks as always for watching and listening. I'll see you guys next time. This is PCJ, the Pop Culture Junkie. I'm signing out.